biggest mistake people make when they move to Chula Vista is thinking they're moving to one city. They're not. They're moving to one of two completely different lives. And the problem is most people don't figure out which one they've bought until after they've already unpacked. So by the end of this video, you'll know which side of Chula Vista actually fits the life you're trying to build. And stay with me till the end because I'm going to ask you the same exact question I ask every relocation buyer before they write an offer. It has nothing to do with price, schools, or interest rates, but your answer will usually tell you whether you found the right neighborhood before you ever sign a contract. Hi, I'm Jennifer St. Clair, your host of Living in San Diego, and if you're new here, welcome. I've spent more than 21 years helping people buy, sell, invest, and relocate to San Diego. And one of the biggest mistakes I see is people falling in love with a house before they understand the life that comes with it. So let's fix that. Because by the time most people realize they've picked the wrong part of Chula Vista, moving again isn't really an option. So before we talk about prices, before we talk about neighborhoods, before we talk about schools, you need to understand one thing. Geography is the entire decision. Chula Vista sits in San Diego's South Bay. So downtown San Diego is to the northwest, National City borders it to the north, and Bonita wraps around kind of the northeast edge. San Diego Bay, of course, forms the western boundary, and to the east, communities like East Lake, part of Chula Vista, Otay Ranch, stretch toward the Otay Mountains with Otay Mesa and the international border just beyond. On a map, that doesn't seem like a big deal. In real life, it's everything because this city is really two different lifestyles stitched together by Interstate 805. West Chula Vista grew over generations. East Chula Vista was designed. Neither's better, they simply create different lives. So west of 805, you're living in the original city. And east of it, you're living in communities that, in many cases, didn't even exist a few decades ago. Same city, very different life. And that's where people get themselves into trouble. Most buyers think they're buying a house. They're actually buying a Tuesday. They're buying the drive to work, where they grab coffee, whether Saturday morning starts with a walk along the Bayfront or loading the kids into a car for soccer at one of East Lake's parks. They're buying routines. They're buying convenience. They're buying how they feel every ordinary day after the excitement of moving wears off. You can absolutely love a kitchen and quietly resent the life attached to it. I've watched it happen. And that's why I spend less time asking clients what kind of house they want and a lot more time asking how they want to live. Lifestyle, we talk about it all the time on my channel. So before we split Chula Vista into east and west, let's talk about what kind of city you're actually moving to. Chula Vista means beautiful view in Spanish, and once you spend time here, it's easy to understand why. Today, it's the second largest city in San Diego County, home to more than 275,000 residents and one of the fastest growing parts of the region. It also offers something many San Diego cities don't: space. More than 60 parks are spread out throughout the city, giving residents everything from neighborhood playgrounds to wide open recreation areas. The Otay Valley Regional Park alone offers thousands of acres of trails, open space, and wildlife habitat. Golfers have several options, including Chula Vista Golf Course and East Lake Country Club, and the Chula Vista Marina provides boating, waterfront dining, and easy access to San Diego Bay. Check out the galley, they have live music. It's really cool next to Gaylord. The Living Coast Discovery Center also gives families a chance to experience local wildlife and conservation up close. The U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Training Center brings elite athletes from around the country to train right here in Chula Vista, and many of its facilities are open for public tours. It's really cool. You should check it out. And the acoustically tight North Island Credit Union Amphitheater attracts nationally touring top talent throughout the year. I've seen so many good concerts there, and I actually got to hang out with Billy Joe and Mike Dirnt from Green Day one day. One of the best shows I've ever seen. From the mosh pit to the lawn seats, it is San Diego's one of their best concert venues. And here, shopping ranges from long-established Chula Vista Center to the newer retail districts that are throughout East Lake and Otay Ranch. West Chula Vista is also where one of the biggest stories in San Diego is unfolding. The Gaylord Pacific Resort anchors the Bayfront now, and its impact on this city, or on this side of the city, is already real, not theoretical, and we talked about it in my Massive Projects video. So that's not a planned promise anymore. It's already opened. It's already reshaping the neighborhood around it. And the entire Chula Vista Bayfront master plan spans roughly 535 acres of waterfront and includes parks, public promenades, restaurants, hotels, retail, recreational amenities, expanded shoreline access, and environmental restoration. Sweetwater Park is already open, Harbor Park is expanding, and more public waterfront amenities are under construction. This means this isn't simply one new resort, it's an entire waterfront district that's still taking shape and will be for many years to come. So this side isn't just the older side of town anymore. It's got a lot of new things coming in. So if you've always thought of Chula Vista as simply an affordable alternative to coastal San Diego, it's time to update that picture because it's really up and coming. And this city really has been quietly reinventing itself. But here's where buyers get fooled. Knowing what the city offers isn't the same as knowing which side of the city fits your life. So starting with the west side, because relocation buyers consistently underestimate it, it's becoming a place where people can see long-term upside, especially if they want to be close to the Bayfront transformation and still stay connected to the rest of the city. It's not speculation, it's actually happening. There is a trade-off. West Chula Vista is not perfectly uniform. East Lake is pretty uniform, not so much in West Chula Vista. You will see beautifully renovated homes sitting next to homes that still need work. And for some buyers, that's uncomfortable, and for others, it's just character. You've got older trees, established neighborhoods, homes with different architecture, different stories, different histories, neighbors who've lived there for decades. West Chula Vista feels like a city that already had a life before you arrived. You can renovate the kitchen, you can update a bath, but you can't renovate character into a neighborhood that never had it. And it has a lot of character in West Chula Vista. I love it. Now let's talk stats. West Chula Vista, primarily 91910 and 91911. Those zip codes currently have active listings averaging about 935,000 and have been sitting on the market for an average of 35 days. But here's the number that actually tells you what's happening. 220 single-family homes have already sold here since January 1st, with an average of 23 days on the market and a median sale price of $850,000. For that, you get about 1,800 square feet on about a 7,000 square foot lot. Those are average numbers. So the sale to list price is running almost at a perfect 100% for this year. That's considerably less than many coastal communities as far as cost. And home builds here vary from the late 1880s to the newer homes built in the past 5 years. So Chula Vista has so much character, from historic homes, West Chula Vista, to almost brand new construction. There's real value sitting in this part of the city. There really is. And if you want value and a neighborhood feel that is more established than polished, while giving you freeway access that's difficult to beat if your job takes you to downtown, into central San Diego, or North County, this side deserves your attention. Day to day, this side runs through 3rd Avenue. It's kind of the hub, downtown Chula Vista's main strip. Italianissimo Trattoria is one of my favorites for sit-down dinner. I did eat dinner there that last night. It was really good, and it's a local favorite. The avenue is full of long-standing spots like Don Pedro, Taco Shop, and La Bella Pizza Garden, plus newer additions like Groundswell Brewing Company. And if you ever need it, Sharp Chula Vista Medical Center, the largest hospital in South Bay, is actually based right here on the west side, not the east. Great healthcare all over the county. A friend of mine moved here from Bay Park, and the first thing she said was, "I miss the coastal breeze." Well, yeah, but then she said something I'll never forget. This neighborhood actually has kind of a front porch culture. Houses sit closer to the sidewalk, yards, porches are bigger, and the block parties and the lemon festival crowd spilled straight out into the street. You can't measure that on a spreadsheet. If that kind of front porch, lived-in lifestyle matters to you, you'll feel it the first time you drive through. She actually really, really loves the change of pace. For some people, that's exactly what they're looking for, that front porch lifestyle. And if that sounds like you, West Chula Vista is definitely worth checking out. Now, if West Chula Vista made you think, that sounds like me, don't make up your mind yet, because East Chula Vista tells a completely different story. Once you cross Interstate 805, it feels like you've entered a different city, and you really kind of have. Communities like East Lake and Otay Ranch have become some of the most popular destinations for out-of-area buyers, and it's pretty easy to understand why. Wider streets, master-planned neighborhoods, parks woven throughout the communities, lakes, walking trails, newer shopping centers, HOA maintained amenities. Everything feels organized, predictable, intentional. The payoff is less guesswork in the day-to-day and from street to street. If you've lived in newer suburbs of places like Texas, Arizona, or Nevada, East Chula Vista is probably going to feel familiar even before you get out of your car. You're going to feel at home. Some people describe that feeling as peaceful. Others feel like it's almost too polished. Neither reaction is wrong. Your geography has to support your psychology. You're not choosing which side is better. You're actually just choosing the environment that brings out the version of yourself that you want to live every day. Talk about this all the time on my videos. East Lake and Otay Ranch were built around a different idea of daily life. And at the heart of East Lake is an actual lake. Not just something to look at, but something people use. Walking paths, paddle boats, fishing, community events. Neighborhoods like East Lake Shores were literally designed right around the lake. One of the reasons people stay in East Lake is because daily life really is incredibly efficient. You stop driving all over San Diego County just to get through your week. For groceries and everyday life, you've got the Village Walk at East Lake. It has Trader Joe's, Sprouts, and CVS just minutes away. And if you want a night out, Otay Ranch Town Center is the hub with more than 90 shops and restaurants, an AMC Theater, Barnes & Noble, and dining that runs from Cheesecake Factory to P.F. Chang's. Closer to home, College Plaza off of Otay Lakes Road has neighborhood staples like Pancho's Mexican Restaurant and iSushi. Good choices, either one of them. And if you enjoy the outdoors, who doesn't? Lower Otay Lake, Mountain Hawk Park, Otay Valley Regional Park, and Chula Vista Elite Athlete Training Center, hiking, cycling, rowing, Olympic sports, and miles of trails practically right in your backyard. And healthcare is convenient too here, as we already alluded to. Scripps, Coastal Medical Center, and Sharp Care both have clinics right in East Lake for everyday care, and Sharp Chula Vista Medical Center, the South Bay's largest hospital, is only 10 minutes away. So everybody asks me about schools. Schools are part of the draw. They're not an afterthought here. East Lake High, Otay Ranch High, and Olympian High all serve this side of the city, and I'll break down exactly how they compare just a little bit later in this video, so stick around. You're also only about 10 miles from Otay Mesa Port of Entry, making Baja Cross-Border Express and Tijuana International Airport surprisingly accessible if that's part of your lifestyle. And one more thing about the trade you're making here. Lot size. Most East Lake homes sit on a smaller patio-style lots that you typically find in the newer parts of Chula Vista and the newer parts of anywhere in San Diego. You get smaller lots. So you're trading private yard space for lakes, trails, parks, pools, recreation, and lower maintenance living. And for a lot of my clients, that's exactly the right trade. For people who dream about a big backyard, a garden, or room for an ADU, East Lake may not be your top choice. Know which one you are looking for before you fall in love with the floor plan. And one thing people moving from the coast notice almost immediately is the weather. The farther east you go, the warmer it gets, like hot. Summer afternoons can easily run 10 to 20 to 30 degrees hotter than the coast with a lot less marine layer, definitely a lot less. So if you're picturing cool ocean breezes, that's not what you're buying on this side of Chula Vista. East Lake feels established. Just south of it, Millennia and parts of Otay Ranch are where much of Chula Vista's newest development is happening today. East Lake isn't trying to become something else. It already knows what it is. The question is whether this is the life that you're trying to build. The city that exists today or the city that's being built still. And here's where things get interesting. East Lake currently carries a median sale price of about $1.05 million with a list to sale price ratio of 100%. On average, you get about 2,400 square foot for that, but only a 5,600 square foot lot. This includes, of course, East Lake, the zip codes 91915, 14, and 91913. And what that means for you is there's very strong demand, and you need to be ready to move when the right home comes up if you're thinking about moving there, because the median days on the market are only 12. That's really fast. Currently, there are 92 detached homes listed for sale. And when I first started selling homes out here, you could buy about 3,000 square feet for about 450,000. Those days are long gone, but one thing hasn't changed. People move here because the lifestyle still works. So much of your daily life happens right in Eastlake. Schools, parks, restaurants, shopping. You don't have to leave very often if you don't want to. Now, Otay Ranch generally follows close behind, with detached homes commonly ranging from the mid-900,000s upward, depending upon, of course, location, size, age, etc. Corte Bella 2, Monte Villa 3 all offer new construction homes in Otay, but factor in the Mello-Roos if you plan to buy there. These numbers tell you buyers are still paying for newer communities, but the real decision is whether the added structure, amenities, and newer feel are really worth the extra monthly cost to you. It can be considerable, so weigh that before you move in. Now, this next part may save you more money than anything else we've talked about today, because here's the mistake I see buyers making over and over again. They stop doing the math, they compare square footage, they compare kitchens, they compare backyards, then they stop. The list price is only part of the monthly payment. HOA dues matter, Mello-Roos matters, insurance matters. These costs don't show up in the beautiful listing photos, but they absolutely show up every month after closing. And that's important. The home that looks cheaper on paper can end up costing way more in real life. Most newer communities throughout East Lake and Otay Ranch do include Mello-Roos assessments that help fund the infrastructure that you'll enjoy when you live there. Libraries, police departments, roads, etc. Typically, those assessments remain in place for roughly a decade or two, generally about 2 decades before they expire. And that difference can change whether a home is comfortably affordable or you just barely feel stretched. And it's why I encourage buyers not to negotiate for 2 weeks over a $10,000 purchase price while they're ignoring several $100s every month in HOA for community amenities and also Mello-Roos. That's real money. If those amenities genuinely improve your life, great. That's value. If you're paying these costs simply because the neighborhood felt newer, that's an emotional decision, not necessarily a financial one. And here's something else that surprises many relocation buyers. Chula Vista's biggest strength isn't east, it isn't west. It's that you have a choice. Citywide, the median list price for detached homes currently sits about $999,000, running about $490 a square foot. Condominiums often begin around the low $400,000, and townhomes commonly land around $700,000 entry point. Most San Diego communities offer one type of lifestyle. Chula Vista offers several. That's why I don't simply ask buyers what they want to spend. I ask what kind of week do they want to wake up into? Because sometimes bigger isn't better, sometimes closer is, sometimes less driving is. Sometimes an older neighborhood with more personality creates a better life than brand new houses with perfect photos. Okay, and if you're thinking about relocating to Chula Vista or San Diego, anywhere in San Diego County, don't hesitate to reach out to me. My team and I help people relocate every day. You can text me at this number, book a call, download my free relocation guide. Let's talk about something people ask me about all the time: safety. Wallet Hub ranked Chula Vista among the 25 safest cities in America in its 2025 study. It's wonderful. It's so encouraging. But remember, real estate has always been hyper-local, so I do encourage buyers to evaluate neighborhoods. I encourage them to drive them at different times of day, look at home upkeep, lighting, how the streets are maintained, and then compare what you see publicly with the available crime stats. Your own due diligence finishes it. If you've agreed with everything I've said so far, this is the section that may change your mind, and that's the commute. This is something buyers often underestimate. They don't fully understand the impact traffic jams can have on their serenity and quality of life. And this is where the big, beautiful East Lake homes quietly lose their shine if your job requires a commute. If your job is downtown, West Chula Vista can be an exceptionally convenient location with quick access to I-5 and 805. That means way less time in your car and more time back in your day at home doing the things you love. But if your office is in UTC, Sorrento Valley, or North County, your daily experience may be something completely different. On a Saturday afternoon, the drive from Eastlake doesn't seem all that bad. Then Tuesday arrives. Rush hour hits, and suddenly your 30-minute commute isn't 30 minutes anymore. Your workout time's gone, your kid's soccer game is missed, and you're eating cold dinner by yourself after dark. No bueno. That's why I encourage clients to drive their actual commute at their actual commuting hours before they fall in love with a floor plan, or we write an offer, or during the due diligence period, obviously, is acceptable as well, because you're not buying your weekends, you're buying weekdays. Okay, schools are part of that picture, so let's separate the facts from the assumptions, because this is another place where buyers often oversimplify the decision. One thing that surprises a lot of relocation buyers is that Chula Vista doesn't have one single K through 12 school district. Elementary schools are managed by the Chula Vista Elementary School District, which serves kindergarten through 6th. Then students move into the Sweetwater Union High School District for grades 7 through 12, which serves Chula Vista along with several neighboring South Bay communities. And within that district, schools like East Lake High, Olympian High, and Otay Ranch High consistently perform well. School boundaries matter and they can change, so the only school assignment that counts is the one attached to the specific address that you're considering, so always verify it before you close. And here's another place where buyers unintentionally fool themselves: cost of living. Most people focus on the purchase price and monthly payment. I focus on lifestyle. If you've been on my channel, you know that. I build the monthly picture with principal, interest, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, HOA, Mello-Roos, everything. Add utilities because electricity can get very costly in East County if you don't have solar, and water can too if you want real green grass out there. And the actual cost of your commute in both dollars and times, that's the number that determines whether a house improves your life or quietly becomes a source of stress. Because saving $50,000 on the purchase price doesn't feel like much of a win if you spend the next 10 years giving it back in time, fuel, or monthly carrying costs. The practical takeaway is that the cheaper house is not always the cheaper life. That's why I believe the best neighborhood isn't always the newest one or the most expensive one. It's the one that supports the life you're actually trying to build. But before you decide which side you like better, there's one last piece of the puzzle, because the Chula Vista you buy today may not be the same Chula Vista you own 10 years from now, because it really is still evolving a lot. And one thing people don't always realize is that Chula Vista gives you access to experiences that many suburbs don't. The U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Training Center brings athletes from around the world to train right here in the city, and it's open for tours throughout the year. Just a few miles away, Sesame Place, San Diego, has become a destination for families across Southern California. The marina offers boating and waterfront recreation. The Bayfront continues expanding. There are golf courses, regional parks, hiking, shopping, concerts, and outdoor recreation spread throughout the city. In other words, this isn't just a place people sleep before commuting somewhere else. It's actually become a destination in its own right. But let's keep it honest. If your dream is waking up and walking to the beach every morning, Chula Vista probably isn't your city. It's going to be more like La Jolla, Encinitas, Del Mar, Carlsbad, Coronado, not Chula Vista. HOA dues and Mello-Roos can significantly increase your monthly cost of ownership. The older West Chula Vista neighborhoods often require a little more due diligence simply because the housing stock is more varied. Those aren't flaws, they're trade-offs. Every city has them. And there's a reason why Chula Vista is one of the most popular searched places to live in San Diego County. The question is whether it lines up with your priorities. And that's a conversation worth having, because Chula Vista isn't the inexpensive little secret it once was. And it isn't simply a backup plan for buyers who couldn't afford somewhere else. Because after more than 21 years helping people move to San Diego, I've learned something. Nobody calls me 6 months later because they wish they'd bought a different kitchen. They call because they wished they'd thought more about their commute, their weekends, their neighborhood, and what everyday life was actually going to feel like. So remember that question I told you I'd ask before anyone writes an offer? Can you picture an ordinary Tuesday here at your new home? Not moving day, not vacation, Tuesday. Because if you can honestly picture yourself enjoying an ordinary Tuesday, you've probably found the right neighborhood. If you can't, keep looking. That's usually your answer. And if you're already leaning east, come find where the conversation is happening. I'm active in both East Lake and Otay Ranch community groups on Facebook, and there's a lot of conversation that happens there. So, is Chula Vista worth it? For the right buyer, I think it's one of the best values left in San Diego County. Not because it's the cheapest, because it gives you real choices. Older neighborhoods with character, newer communities with amenities, a waterfront that's transforming, and enough variety that you can usually find a lifestyle that fits, not just a house. The trick isn't deciding whether Chula Vista is worth it, it's deciding whether the life it offers is the one you actually want. And if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing, hit the like button. That really helps my algorithm out a lot. And please leave a comment below. I love hearing from you guys. I answer every question. I read them all. Thank you so much for coming. And as always, stay sunny, San Diego.